Hello, everyone. I'm Gorilla Monsoon.
And I'm your host, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, why don't you be serious? You're not the host, Brain.
Well, I should be.
Chris DiFrancesco is the host.
Chris DiFrancesco?
Yes, that's correct. I didn't stutter.
Didn't he get whacked in an episode of The Sopranos?
Oh, give me a break. He hosts a podcast, Brain.
Who the hell doesn't?
Well, his is about wrestling.
Who the hell's isn't?
He talks about old wrestling.
Wow! What a novel idea.
Oh, give me a break.
Next, you're going to tell me he's got a wrestling-themed name for the show?
Well,
Come on, Monsoon, spit it out.
it's the Hot Tag Wrestling Podcast,
So what?
and it's starting now.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. We are back after I was gone for a week, but I'm back better than ever, and we have something a little different for you guys here tonight. But first, I'm Chris. Obviously, you see the name tags on the bottom of the screen there. On the right is George the Animal Rogers. George, welcome to Bad Street USA. What's going on, man?
I love being on Bad Street. You know, I don't know if you knew this about Bad Street, Chris, but the further down you go on that block, the badder it gets.
Really?
And I live at the last house on the left. Yeah.
For those of you who maybe,
They don't these are things that people won't tell you. You know,
it's
don't
amazing
worry.
the
I'm
kind
here
of
to fill you
information
in.
that you're giving people. For those of you who don't know, that obviously we are quoting Bad Street USA from the fabulous Freebirds. Just do yourself a favor and you go to YouTube. Take a break from watching the return of AJ Lee. Go on to YouTube and do Bad Street USA and just watch Mr. P.S. Hayes, Michael P.S. Hayes, do his thing.
And also be astounded by how skinny he is.
Is there anything more 80s than that music video?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
in the world of wrestling, no. I mean, because I have seen some music videos that are just pure 80s like schlock. But when it comes to like 80s wrestling, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like Bad Street. And I was even telling you, I think it's time for like the Freebirds to come back. I mean, obviously you can't do like the Freebirds.
Mm-hmm.
But like they came out and it was just like fun. Like the crowd got so hyped into it.
No doubt. Yeah, it was. I love it. And I've always had this weird obsession. I wouldn't say obsession, maybe an obsession. A weird obsession of just watching the Freebirds entrances.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it was the strut by Michael P.S. Hayes. And I don't know what it is, but I just loved everything about a Freebirds entrance. Gosh, I just miss that kind of stuff. But yeah, I at least a few times a year, I'll fall down the Freebirds rabbit hole on YouTube, just watching their entrances because their matches, still a lot to be desired there. But, you know, it was a great gimmick and it was over like Rover in the 80s.
I mean, but that combo in the ring of Michael P.S. Hayes and Terry Gordy, like that kind, like when you look at, you know, having your lean guy who can go in and do all the moves, and then your heavy who comes in, you know, and beats you down with pure power. I mean, that's a precursor for many tag teams.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it. And, you know, look, let's just be honest here. You know, Michael Hayes will tell you the same thing. He wasn't, you know, a catch-as-catch-can style wrestler, but, you know, you hear other people talk about Hayes. He was one of those few guys that could simply just talk you into a sold-out building. Yeah. Just an incredible, charismatic, like, you know, enigma, that guy. So yeah. All right, look, we have something different for you guys here tonight. I think this is something we're probably going to do from now on every 3 to 4 weeks or so. We're going to take an intermittent break from covering the Monday Night Wars in order every single week. We're going to get back to where we left off. We're not going to like skip days or anything.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is every 3 to 4 weeks, maybe once a month, I guess I'll say that, probably once a month, we are going to go back in the time machine and we're going to pick a pay-per-view to cover, whether we're in September. So we'll cover a September pay-per-view from years past. We'll go, you know, and we'll just do that every month. Just to kind of really mix it up, get us excited to watch something new. We apologize if it's out of order, but it really doesn't really matter what order we go in. You know, it's just covering a pay-per-view. We're not covering the Monday Night Raws that led up to it or anything after. We're just focusing on reviewing a pay-per-view, which is what this show was started on, was built off of. I know people have been asking us to do that again, and I thought after, I kind of called an audible earlier in the week. I asked George, said, hey, man, let's cover a September pay-per-view from 99, because I don't want to be so close to where we are in the Monday Night Wars. So I just picked, 3 years down the road. I said, let's cover something from like 99 to like the 2008, like anything in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression era. Let's cover it. And, there was a lot of Unforgivens because September was historically an Unforgiven pay-per-view for the WWE and WWF. And I gave George a list of the ones that I thought we could cover because there's a lot of them that I like. And of course, George picked one that I didn't list at all. And he goes, let's watch the 99 one. I'm like, why didn't I think of 99? Now I know why, watching it back.
Yeah.
That's why. So that's what we're going to cover today. And then next month, I forget historically, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to spoil this for anyone, but I'm going to try to sell this to George, maybe on the air here. I think in October, I'd like to cover the pay-per-view of the first ever Hell in a Cell match. So if you want to cover In Your House Bad Blood, that's something that I was looking at covering. I would love to do that because that's one of my, I think that's in like my top 2 or 3 favorite matches ever in wrestling. And I just always love covering it. And George probably knows this. Any chance I get a chance to gloat over Shawn Michaels, I'm going to do it.
I assume you wanted to cover it because you're a big fan of the Patriot, Del Wilkes.
Definitely. What a great program that was for Bret Hart.
Best.
Before we get into anything, I guess we have to kind of touch on what happened at SmackDown on Friday night. George, the return that was it been 10 years? The 10 years, the massively, unfortunately, the massively worst kept secret in wrestling history still was a mega moment. The return of AJ Lee to WWE. It's been reported all over the place, not just one spot, that she has signed a multi-year contract. She's going to be back for a while. What's crazy, if people want to fact check me, AJ has been gone for a decade and she's still younger than Charlotte and Becky Lynch. So It's just crazy that she was so young and she left so early. But nonetheless, she's back, George, and it's almost grossed over 100 million views across all WWE social media platforms. This is massive, dude.
This is also the shit that they want. And I don't.
You're right. Bingo.
I don't mean to discount AJ's return because it is huge. Mm-hmm. It is massive. She's been gone for 10 years and everybody has been wanting AJ to come back. When Punk went to AEW, that was a big thing people were talking about. It was like, oh, is AJ going to come with him? Is AJ Lee going to go with him to AEW? Well, she didn't. And I'm sure that pisses off somebody in particular, that she decided not to go back to that company, but came back to this one instead. They must have just backed a dump truck up of money and just dropped it at the door of the Brooks house because she's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
But this is the shit that they want. They want these moments that can go viral and get 100 million views and all this and get talked about on social media to gain traction. This is what they want. That's why it was the worst kept secret, because we all knew. Anybody with a brain who's been following knew that was probably what was going to happen as soon as Becky showed up at Clash in Paris to screw Punk. We all knew that was coming. And then it was leaked by somebody at WWE Shop who I'm sure is now doesn't have a job. But this is it's right up there with 2007 Chris Jericho when he came back. It's we all know it's Jericho. Awesome. Yep. There's a Save Us Y29 vignettes. It's Jericho. We all knew it was Jericho.
No doubt.
But
no doubt.
There was no vignettes. There's no lead up. The crowd was chanting AJ Lee, so they knew. They were in Chicago. They were going to chant it regardless. But what they could have done, just to kind of play it up a little more and maybe get a bigger pop from the crowd, is maybe have somebody else come out instead, right? Like say like Lyra comes out, right? And obviously she'll get, or actually, just to save that, maybe make it Rhea, because Rhea right now is a little is kind of untouchable. She's not getting booed no matter what she does. Have her come out. The crowd will obviously, be a little deflated because it's not AJ, but also excited because it's Rhea. And then have Rhea come out and and like threaten Becky, and then be like, "But I'll see you down the road." And then that's when like AJ comes out. Like everybody, like, oh, it's like, or have her come out and say, it's like Becky, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. I was just not gonna say that. She goes, but somebody wants to get their hands on you first, and then that's when AJ comes out. And it was awesome. It was a hell of a moment. Like the crowd was just, I haven't heard a pop like that probably since Punk returned and Survivor Series in 2023. It was huge. It was extremely massive, and it's viral. It's what they wanted. It's exactly what they want. But I'm going to be negative on this. Not on AJ, but it's the shit with Becky and Seth, which is constantly just irritating. Becky's got go-away heat. Becky's got Rousey heat. People don't like her. They're tired of her. She comes out, she cuts these promos. It's the same fucking promo every week that she's cutting. It isn't getting changed up at all.
No.
She, on SmackDown, she literally did the same exact thing she did on Raw. She came out, she talked a bunch, she started slapping Punk around like he was a bitch. And I'm sitting there like, I'm like, I know like Punk doesn't want to put his hands on a woman, but like in my like heart of hearts, I'm like, I hope he punches her in the mouth and doesn't pull back. Like,
that would be
I hope he hits her and breaks her jaw so it's wired shut, and then she can't talk. And then she can't talk anymore. Because that's the thing. It's like you had Seth, and then you had Becky show up. No Heyman, no Bronson Reed, no Braun Breaker.
Nope.
So once again, what are we doing with this faction? Instead of showing Becky show up backstage, which I even told you, I was like, oh, this fucking cunt just showed up. Like, instead of that, have Heyman show up.
Yeah.
Because if Heyman's there, instinctively we assume, oh, if Heyman's there, Seth is there. You know, Bronson Reed, Brumber, we have that in our minds, because then we won't know who's going to come out. And then you have Becky Lynch who's come out and be like, and then you can react otherwise. But we already saw Becky, so we knew she was going to show up.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that Seth came out, but he just stayed up in the stands. And then Becky came out of the ring. It's like, I don't understand what they're doing, but from my opinion, I won't say professional opinion, from my armchair wrestling critic position, it isn't working for me.
No, it's not. It's not working for most.
It's just like there's so much that I feel like they're just coasting on right now, and not putting any real effort into it.
Right, I agree.
Like Tiffy was hot when she won the women's title. They have not done anything with her,
right,
since then. She hasn't had any meaningful feuds, nothing to help elevate her. It's like, oh, she's just the champ, and like that's where we're gonna go. Yeah,
that's exactly what's going on.
Give me something. You're giving me all these moments on social media, which is great, but none of those moments make me want to turn the show on and watch. Yeah, or at least none of those moments are making me want to keep the show on. Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, like I watched SmackDown. And Cena came out. I was like, oh, here's Cena. Awesome. This will make me want to watch the show. Cena had a hell of a match with Sami Zayn. I'm like, all right, this is awesome. Like, I know that they're going to have the AJ announcement later on. And then, like, when they cut backstage and then they show Becky show up, like, I was so close to turning the fucking thing. I was like, I don't want to watch this now.
I know. I felt
because
the same
I don't
way.
care what she has to say, but I guess she had to be there for like the AJ thing. But did they have? I mean, I know like SmackDown was in Chicago, but they could have Punk announce it and then have AJ's debut on Netflix.
Ideally, ideally that's what I would have done, but
because then you figure
you've only got another week or so to build.
Yeah, because then you figure he announces it on SmackDown on Friday, and then WWE's social media team can spend the week putting up like packages for AJ Lee. Oh, like on their YouTube channel, here's a live stream of AJ Lee matches.
Yeah.
Just so you know who's coming in and why it's a big deal.
Right.
They could have built that up, and then you build her debut. Then you got more people tuning in to Netflix and watching Raw.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you.
That's what Vince would have done.
For sure.
That's what Vince would have done.
No doubt Vince would have saved that for Netflix.
He would have saved that to he would have built it to get people watching it.
Yeah.
Or what you could have done was just have Punk announce it on Raw and then spend the rest of the week building up AJ and then have her show up on SmackDown in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get people watching USA.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense too. So once again, welcome to the I bring logic to an illogical situation from George Rogers, because he's right. He's spot on. But all right, so let's just dive into WWF Unforgiven 1999. We are going back to the Attitude Era, the chaos, the controversy, the ridiculous chair shots. It's time to break down Unforgiven 1999. We are live from Charlotte, North Carolina, in front of a ruckus crowd. George, over 15,000 people are in here. And this is on September 26th of 1999. Again, the show was jam-packed with drama, swerves, and some questionable booking. So,
did they get Ric Flair's permission to be in Charlotte?
I personally believe they had no choice but to ask him.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah,
just checking.
No doubt in my mind. There were some deals done.
I will say, though, at this point in 1999, it was great to see a show in Charlotte where people gave a shit.
Well, WCW basically killed the town in Charlotte in like 97 or 98. So it's glad to see some meaningful wrestling back here.
And that's a loose term considering this pay-per-view, but go ahead.
Very loose, correct. Unforgiven 1999. It took place September 26th, just as the Attitude Era was peaking. Stone Cold Steve Austin had been quote-unquote fired by Vince McMahon. The WWF Championship was vacant after Triple H's reign was cut short. That set up the main event, which is a six-pack challenge featuring some of the top stars of the era, and a special enforcer in the form of, you guessed it, Stone Cold himself. George, we're like about 2 months away, maybe a little over 2 months away before we don't see Stone Cold Steve Austin for 10 months. We're getting to that point here at the end of 99 where, again, the Attitude Era is at an all-time high, and we're about to go into the millennium without pro wrestling's biggest global star since Hulk Hogan. If you're the WWF here, George, the surgery's on the horizon. You've got one more match out of Austin before the year is over, and then you're saying Steve Austin, that golden goose, for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
What are you here in WWF? If you're Vince McMahon, are you a smidge worried? Or are you at this point in 99 incredibly confident in The Rock, in Triple H, Mankind? Like, how would you perceive how you think Vince was feeling here?
Fortunately, I'm just going to correct you a little bit. Austin wasn't fired in 99. He didn't wrestle because Triple H beat the shit out of him at the end of SummerSlam and took a chair to his knee. So Austin couldn't wrestle because of his knee. In theory, in all reality, it was his neck, but they worked the knee to work that injury so then Austin wouldn't.
Gotcha.
So they wouldn't have to play like a neck injury. They can keep Austin around, or whatever. That way they can build up like one more match at the very least.
Okay, gotcha.
Because if we think it's a knee injury, then it'd be fun. It's like, all right, like fine. If it's a neck injury, we're all like, oh, like fuck again. Yeah. That's sort of another SummerSlam where this guy injures his neck. Like,
You're right.
But you figure you're Vince in late '99. Not only are you a about to lose Austin, you don't have Taker either.
No.
So you're without probably your two most recognized. You're eventually going to be without your two most recognizable names in the company.
Yep.
But you got The Rock, who at this point he's been in the main event for about a year. He's already been champion 3 times. You got Triple H, who's on the rise as a top heel and is clearly like swinging for the fences with his heel gimmick, which is great because we know the legs that this has.
For sure.
We know where it's going to go. You got Kane, who is working his way up as being like the best big man worker. He's probably going to take that Taker spot for at least a few months till he comes back. You got Big Show, who came over in February and is immediately in the main event scene already. And Mankind, who's like an old faithful stalwart. So main event wise, he really doesn't have anything to worry about, especially if he knows what's going on the other channel.
Right.
And he's like, yep. They don't just with The Rock alone, they don't have anybody that in 99, they don't have anybody who's going to outdraw The Rock.
No, not one.
And this is me saying this with the red and yellow Hogan, who just came back like a month prior to this in 99.
Right.
But even by that point, 99, the landscape has changed. Red and yellow Hogan does not work in the Attitude Era. It does not. On both sides of the coin. WCW, NWF, red and yellow Hogan doesn't work. Agreed. Because now the product has gotten edgier. We got these other larger than life stars. We don't need to watch Hogan. I'm going to watch Raw and see what The Rock is going to say. Because after The Rock goes babyface at the day after Backlash, 99, The Rock turns babyface because he calls out Shane McMahon for screwing him over at Backlash. The Rock has immediately turned face and is shot right up to the card with Austin as like the number 2 babyface in the company.
No doubt.
Not to mention the Rock and Sock connection, which is happening. Like that garnered so much steam.
Huge.
Like, Vince has nothing to worry about with Austin being out.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, we talked about that and I'm like, you know what? I personally think it was just the wheel just keeps on spinning, and I'm not even going to mention the depth of the mid card because it's unreal. Yeah. So in terms of a buy rate for this pay-per-view, Unforgiven did an estimated buy rate of anywhere between 300 and 330,000 buys. Again, the buy rate for Unforgiven was one of the lowest buy rates for a WWF pay-per-view in 1999. Not sure why at this point. The company was so hot. Maybe it's September. Everyone's just getting back to school. I'm not going to sit here and be Dave Meltzer and try to formulate why it was a low pay-per-view. Fact of the matter is, not too many people bought this pay-per-view, which was surprising to me because it's the first pay-per-view after SummerSlam. Austin's still involved. He's not wrestling, but he's still very much involved. But look, we're going to go through this pay-per-view and we'll see.
Triple H, absolute fucking menace in 99. Absolute fucking menace. Good. People were talking about the reign of terror from like 2002 to 2005. 1999 Triple H was a pure fucking menace.
He really was.
Absolute.
Yeah.
He beat the holy shit out of Mankind the day after the day after SummerSlam 99 to win his first title.
Yeah.
And then just became this massive, like he was so much, this is how good of a heel Triple H is. Vince turned face. That's how good of a heel Triple H was. And that's the reason why the title was vacated, was because Triple H lost the title to Vince McMahon.
Yep.
Because,
but he was that hot, man.
That's how good of a heel you are. If you can make, if you're so good as a heel that you can make the top heel for an entire year and a half turn face in like a program, you're gold. That's why Vince wasn't worried.
Totally agree. All right, let's get to the first match. Let's break these all down now. The show kicks off with Val Venus taking on Steve Blackman, a weird pairing, right? But first off, I had to...
There was a little bit of a story here. Not much, but there was a story.
I do. I just want to highlight part of this match here. How over Mr. Val Venus was.
So fucking over.
I mean, that crowd, popped almost as if it was Steve Austin coming down to the ring hearing this. I don't know if the crowd was just jacked up for the beginning of the pay-per-view, but boy, man, they loved them some Val Venus. And it was, I'm sitting here thinking it's Val Venus, but in 1999, Val was over, man.
Yeah. Val was, at this point, Val's a former Intercontinental Champion, I think.
Yeah, very much.
I think he had the belt.
Yeah.
I think there was a built-in tag team with him and Godfather that they didn't capitalize on.
Boy, that would have been wonderful. So look, it actually wasn't a bad opener. Val was still obviously very much over. Blackman brought his martial arts edge. This is before Blackman really kind of started gaining some pretty good popularity, but it's nothing memorable here. But I think for the pay-per-view's sake, it did its job. Venus wins after distraction from Blackman's nunchucks that gets turned against him. It's a decent opener, George, but nothing special.
Nothing too special, nothing mind-blowing, but it got the crowd hot. It hyped the crowd up. It got them excited for the rest of the pay-per-view, which is essentially the job of the opening match, is to warm the crowd up, get them hyped. Plus, Val comes out and he cuts one of his standard Val promos.
He does.
It's the remnants of Hurricane Floyd are still within the area. Just this morning, the big Balboski was blown from one side of the state to the other.
It was so good.
And the crowd loved it.
Yeah, of course they did. It was good stuff, man.
And not to mention, after the match, that fucking shot that Blackman hit on Val Venus with the kendo stick.
Oh my god. Dude, have you ever seen a kendo stick bend like that?
No,
Never.
Not across somebody's skull. I'll tell you that.
No. All right, match number 2: D'Lo Brown versus Mark Henry for the European Championship. Great story here. You know, Henry betrayed D'Lo a few weeks back, and this was the payoff. Unfortunately, though, the match was still a bit sluggish. You know, at this point, Mark Henry still not a really good or, great worker where D'Lo can go. So this is still, D'Lo, although very good, might not been in a stage of his career where he can carry somebody like a Mark Henry at this juncture. D'Lo wins, but it lacked intensity to me. But again, I think that's just one guy that's pretty experienced versus another big dude who's still pretty much inexperienced. I thought it was a good build, George, but just a flat execution. What says you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good build with Mark Henry turns on D'Lo, costs him both the Intercontinental and the European title because he faced Jeff Jarrett, so he lost both of those titles. Well, he lost the European title, so Jeff becomes a Eurocontinental champion, as they were calling that when somebody held both. And then Jeff gives Mark Henry the European title as a thank you for helping him win the match.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, Mark, we're pretty far off from when Mark Henry is going to become a legitimate force.
Yeah.
But this was still good. There was at least a reason to watch them. Mark Henry comes in, he's like, oh, I don't want to do this match. I think I got a brain aneurysm because Lillian slapped him in the face because he said something cross to her backstage.
Yes, that was funny. Yeah. That's good stuff. Next up is, I don't even want to talk about it, but whatever. Ivory versus Luna, hardcore women's match for the women's championship.
That's the next match?
Yeah, that's what I have here.
Oh, I thought the next match was a double.
After this, I have Dudley's and Acolytes, and then I have Jeff Jarrett in China.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll go with that then.
Okay. It's hard to even remember the women's division here in '99, but because this was definitely not its finest moment. Ivory versus Luna in a hardcore match could have been wild, but it barely got any time. Weapons were involved, sure, but it just felt like filler. Ivory retains. This was just to me a forgettable mess.
This is a pee break.
Yeah, this big time. Yeah. Next up, I had the Dudleys versus the Acolytes. This was all about just stiff tag team action, man. The Dudleys were still pretty new in the WWF at this point. The Acolytes were in just full nonsense APA bullshit mode. It was awesome.
They weren't even the APA yet. They're basically just the Acolytes, but
Yeah.
they weren't in the ministry anymore. So they're like, all right, we're just going to beat people up.
Yeah. It obviously, for people who've been watching wrestling for a long time, know the APA became one of the most over acts of the Attitude Era, very, in very short order after this. The crowd wasn't super into it, but it was a good stiff tag bout. The Dudleys win with a 3D out of nowhere. George, if this match took place in late 2000, 2001, these two teams are getting massive pops and the crowd would be all over it. But here in 1999, you still have 4 unknown guys here, relatively unknown in terms of if you want them to, have heat or to be popular, they're not there yet. But it was really cool for me to watch this match and be like, man, a year from now, these 4 guys are going to be so over at the peak of the Attitude Era.
This was kind of like a coming out party for the Dudley Boys because they had just shown up in WWE at this point. Like they're in it. It's like they're thrown into a feud with the Acolytes. Like, all right, let's see what these guys can do. Probably a test to be like, are these guys going to be able to go or are they going to public enemy this and then want to leave later on? Right. But they held their own. Although the Dudleys did not win this match. They did hit the 3D on Bradshaw, but the referee was then distracted, and good old Stevie Richards, dressed as an Acolyte, came in the ring, super kicked Devon, and the Acolytes got the win. And then the Acolytes beat the shit out of Stevie Richards afterwards. And then while he's laying prone on the mat, Farouk picks up his hand and shakes it.
It was a rough day at the office for old Stevie Richards.
This was a time when Stevie Richards, he was in the company, but they just he was trying to join up with anybody.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to try to be an Acolyte. I remember at one point, he dons the Dude Love attire and Mankind's like, stop doing what you're doing.
Stop everything now. All right. Next up is what George wanted to get to, I'm sure. Jeff Jarrett versus China for the Intercontinental title match. Okay. Now we're getting spicy in this pay-per-view. This feud was as ridiculous as it was controversial. Jarrett had gone full misogynistic heel, constantly bashing women, beating them down. This was 1999, different time, different place. And China was, I'm going to consistently use this word because it's the best way to use it. Dude, China was over as hell in 1999. The match itself wasn't technically great, but the storytelling, classic storytelling, classic Attitude Era. Jarrett wins via, some shenanigans. This feud would peak at No Mercy the next month because we would see Jeff Jarrett on his way back to the WCW. But George, this was overbooked chaos, but super entertaining, especially once Mae Young and Moolah get involved.
It was overbooked, but it worked. That's the weird thing about it. It worked on a couple of levels.
Yeah.
It's like the one time the overbooking actually works out, because the ref gets knocked out and Deborah comes in the ring and cracks Jarrett with the guitar, basically solidifying her full on split from Jeff.
Yep.
At that point, and he's got Miss Kitty with him, and we all know the shit that JR or that the King is saying at ringside because he's boning her. But it's. And then, Dr. Tom Pritchard, the head of the Scab referees, comes on, shows Harvey Whipple that he missed it, and they end up doing, I guess, a dusty finish and kind of reversing the decision.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt China at all.
No.
And, that's the thing is, China was so, and the reason why she was so hyped is that on the lead up to SummerSlam, at one point, she's the number one contender to the WWF title. Yeah. And the crowd was so hot. And Vince probably heard that and he's like, all right, let's capitalize on this.
Yeah.
Let's give her the Intercontinental and see where this goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because because when it was announced that she was going to be the number one contender to face Austin at SummerSlam, crowd went hot. mean, that lead up to
yeah.
SummerSlam was a convoluted all over the place kind of mess, but it also made you have to watch it week after week to see what was going on.
No doubt. No
Like,
doubt.
You miss 1 week, you're fucking lost. But
that was the thing about the Attitude Era back then. You missed a week, bro. Like, there's no social media. You had to wait until next Raw to find out what happened.
Yeah.
Crazy times, man. Crazy times. All right, so let's continue on here. X-Pac and Kane versus the New Age Outlaws. This is tag team turmoil here. Former DX allies going at it. These four, I thought, had solid chemistry, but it kind of felt like a Raw main event type match.
Chris, are you on the same thing as me? Because New Age Outlaws face Edge and Christian.
I'm sorry, New Age Outlaws and Edge and Christian. I'm so sorry. So my bad here.
What the hell are you looking at?
Yeah. Oh, I was looking at something different. A different thing popped up. I am so sorry.
I was going to say, that sounds like a Fatal 4. Is it fully loaded?
I know. It's just fully. Oh my God. I was in the wrong thing. That's so funny. I have like all these different things popped up here. My bad. Where was my spot? Where was my spot? Where is it? Where were we? Give me a second. I got to go back.
What an absolute menace.
I know. I'm so pissed. I clicked on the wrong thing and then I lost my spot in the other one. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Here we go. Versus Edge and Christian. Dude, this was a good one. I actually really enjoyed, Road Dogg and Gunn had only recently reunited as a tag team after, splitting up and feuding earlier in the year. But both teams here are baby faces. They end up having Edge and Christian work as subtle heels for this night as the Outlaws get a big shine. Then Road Dogg gets cut off, worked over in the challenger's half of the ring. There was a funny moment in commentary I have down here where Lawler, chides Ross for not mentioning which high school football team Moolah and May played for. I thought that was hilarious.
He kept going at it too. The way you won't say the college that they played.
Right. It was just good stuff. But no, you get to the end, you get New Age Outlaws gets the win. They're still champs. Dude, this was great, and the crowd was all over it, even though it's two heels, two babyface teams going at it here.
I mean, Edge and Christian, at this point, they've split from the Brood, so they're on their way building up as to be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So we're right at like the cusp of that. Mm-hmm. Plus you got the quote unquote new Brood interfering in the match, Matt and Jeff Hardy. Like this, we got something special coming up.
Yeah.
And this is it. It's weird that when you got these three tag teams that are involved, New Age Outlaws, Edge and Christian, and Matt and Jeff Hardy, one of these teams isn't going to exist like by next March.
That's right. That's a good point. God, it's so wild how things just changed so rapidly in the WWF in this era.
Yeah. And Edge and Christian weren't quite there yet as a tag team. They weren't there. They weren't really ready for tag team gold yet. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously they're going to get there, which is weird because the Hardys had already held the tags for like a day.
Yeah. But all right. So, at this point, George, in 1999, as we get into 2000, and I kind of just want to have some commentary here for a second. At this point in 1999, where are you on the Attitude Era? Because we already know by this point in 99, WCW Nitro is like what, TNA was in terms of competition to the WWF. Where are you, though, person WWF? Do you feel like this is kind of the point where it was kind of starting to become a little more ridiculous? Because I think we're right at the end here of Vince Russo. But maybe he's already gone by this time, I think.
I don't really want to talk about like being on the end of or being too ridiculous when 3 months prior to this, I watched Vince McMahon pull a hood off and say that he was the one telling The Undertaker what to do. Yeah, so, let's ease that back a little. I mean, obviously what's coming up is probably the most ridiculous thing of the Attitude Era ever.
Yeah.
Fucking ever. But like at this point in 99, I'm going back to 14-year-old George. I'm 100% in on everything that they're doing. I'm watching Raw. I'm watching SmackDown. I'm barely flipping channels to go check out and see what Nitro's doing because I'm really not too interested. But I'm fully invested in 99, 2000. That's they are my favorite 2 years to go back and watch stuff from.
Yeah,
because even if it was a shitty match, it was gonna be memorable for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I ordered this pay-per-view, watched it on TV like an adult,
like an adult.
Like
you paid for it like a proper human.
Paid? I didn't, but still, somebody paid for it.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. But even what we're coming up onto now, the fucking Kennel from Hell match, this was actually a good feud. As ridiculous as it is, this was it was memorable.
It was,
and people can say, "Oh, we can look at it through, the lens of 2025," and it is ridiculous. But 99, we still think things are a little real.
Of course.
The internet is in its infancy. Nobody's really on the forums unless you're a diehard nerd like Tony.
That's right.
Or Meltzer or Alvarez, that failed wrestler. Any of those guys, they're the ones who are in the forums, nerding it out. Guys like you and me who don't have access to that.
Nope.
We're chilling. We're watching TV. We don't know where the line is. The line's blurred. So when the big boss man kidnaps Al Snow's dog and cooks it and feeds it to him, I don't know that didn't actually happen. And we know, and the thing is, we know Al Snow and we know Boss Man. They would 1,000% would have done this shit just to get the fans involved.
No doubt in my mind. Absolutely.
They're like, fuck it, yeah, let's kill a dog. And Al Snow would be like, yeah, I'll eat it. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It felt like a blood feud. It felt personal. It was as hokey as it was all over the hardcore title.
Yeah.
And then Al, after everything with Pepper, Al Snow snaps a little bit. He keeps coming down to the ring as different personas that he was.
Yep.
We can look at it now as this is ridiculous. But when you look at, even if you kind of dissect a little bit, it's this is exactly how somebody would act.
Yes.
If their dog was taken, killed, and then fed to them. Al Snow was always nuts, but he went even further from where his character goes.
Yeah.
The problem is the execution of this match was just bad. Yeah. I know what they were thinking in their head. Problem is you can't really make that happen.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure in Vince's mind, it was all just nasty Dobermans around the ring, trying to get at anything that moves, not realizing that having dogs out in front of probably 15,000 screaming fans, they don't know how to act. They're scared. They're frightened. They don't actually know what to do. They're animals.
Agreed. And
it's I know what he wanted. It just, there was just no feasible way that it was going to happen.
Right. And, what we're talking about here is the Kennel from Hell match, Al Snow versus the Big Boss Man for the hardcore title. Al Snow wins the match, but it was just, there's a particular adage in the world of showbiz, I feel like, George, and that is you shouldn't work with animals or kids. And this match was a really good example as to why. I felt bad for these two guys as they worked hard. They did the best that they could, but the match just didn't work out as as a concept, and it was just such hot garbage as a result. This is a perfect example of two wrestlers being set up to fail and sadly not being able to overcome it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what it is because, I feel like this pay-per-view and this match in a vacuum kind of explains the Attitude Era's strengths and weaknesses all in once. The star power and unpredictability as the strength, but the weaknesses of the Attitude Era was weak match finishes and stuff like this of overbooking. And man, I felt like this pay-per-view shows all of that. especially the Kennel from Hell match.
I feel like what they could have done is, honestly, I like the look of the Kennel from Hell. I like the look of it. The blue cage, which that's the last time we're ever going to see the blue cage again.
Yep.
The blue cage around the ring, and then the cell over it. Like when you look at that, you're like, oh, like this is going to be like, this is the kind of shit you'd expect to see Brock Lesnar and Taker in 2003. Like this is, because it's like, oh, it needs all of this to contain this feud. And then when you look at the match itself, everything about Al Snow and Boss Man doing, they were really going at it. Yeah. They were really selling those shots. Boss Man's busted open, Snow's busted open. Like they gave it their all. They put 100% into the match. The whole thing, it was the dogs. That was the thing, because it's the one thing you can't control. And I know what like Vince probably had in their heads when they were thinking it. They were thinking like jailhouse guard dogs that you would see in like a prison movie. Yeah. That's what they were anticipating.
No doubt.
Like that wasn't going to happen. They still could have just done that match without the dogs instead of calling it like Kennel from Hell. They just call it like a jailhouse match or something like that. Because you figure with the blue cage around the ring and then the cell over it, that basically kind of gives the illusion of like a prison cell for the most part. Yeah. Like they could have just done that, and then the way to win the match would be to go over the cage and then out the door of the cell. Kind of like what the concept was probably supposed to be for the Punjabi prison match.
Yes. Yeah.
But with better workers and a little bit of a better concept. Because then if you're outside the ring, then you can have all your weapons out there too. So you figure once you got the two guys out there, then it's close quarters combat at that point. Weapons and whatever they can do inside from the side of the ring to the cell.
I agree. Just a mess all around. Michael Cole is backstage with Mankind, who is conflicted because his buddy, The Rock, is in the main event with him later, but it's every man for himself. Mankind says he will lay
still kind of weird saying Michael Cole backstage doing interviews.
Oh my God, I know. Mankind says he will lay it to smack it down on The Rock tonight, although he doesn't seem so sure. Next up here is a match that really wasn't even supposed to happen, which is, I guess you could say it was an extra match. It was a bonus match given to us. Chris Jericho.
Better than not having a match at all.
Chris Jericho versus X-Pac. Again, this match wasn't originally on the card and was added mid-show. Jericho obviously was brand new in the WWF, and he just hadn't quite found his rhythm yet. I thought the action on this match was really good, but the finish was a DQ due to a cane interference. Was still kind of flat. I thought overall, George, though, the match showed promise, but I still think that ending kind of dragged it down. I wasn't expecting the world to be set on fire here, but these two still got 13 minutes, which I thought was good. Jericho at this point had been feuding with Ken Shamrock and was supposed to wrestle him here, but Shamrock had recently decided to step away from WWF. So they put X-Pac in here as well.
This was a good match, but they really didn't have any time to put it together, and honestly, it showed.
Yeah.
Like when you look at some of the spots, like they're a little slow moving, or it looks like they kind of stop for like a split second.
Yeah.
To like set something else up, because it basically had to be done within like the span of 10 hours. Like, all right, we got to do something. I mean, they did good with what they had.
For sure.
And I like Mr. Hughes as a bodyguard.
I love Mr. Hughes as a bodyguard. I was just always a big fan.
His claim to fame is being the shoulder that the towel fell onto, that Mr. Perfect tossed him from behind the back in that famous clip from SummerSlam.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And like the towel made it perfectly on the shoulder. But I mean, like Jericho with a bodyguard makes sense. I love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when he had Ralphus in WCW.
The GOAT.
Jericho was kind of doing a version of his WCW gimmick at this stage because Vince Russo really liked that character. But it wasn't really working in the WWF as well as it had over, down south. And, and Jericho ended up changing that gimmick up a bit once, like as soon as Vince Russo left. And that's when, shockingly, Jericho started getting over as a big babyface. So but that's the greatness about Jericho. Even in 2025, man, he knew when it was time to start adjusting and altering and changing things up.
I mean,
But
that it also helps that, like, after this, the very next big feud he's going to go into is with China for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. This match I thought had some really nice stuff in it. It also suffered from some like sloppiness here and there, distracted crowd.
The shit with the referees is like,
I was just it dragged this match down a little bit. The finish I thought was a stinker, especially as I can't see why they couldn't have just had X-Pac do a job. It's not like X-Pac couldn't have survived a loss to Jericho, especially with Hughes being involved. I did enjoy, the match as much as I thought I was going to, but I still thought it was a really good match. I just thought maybe they didn't want X-Pac doing a job here.
That upside down Bronco Buster was pretty fucking sus to look at.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like X-Pac, that looks a little better for you when the guy is sitting down in the corner.
That's right.
Because it looks like you're just bobbing up on his fucking dong as you're rubbing your nuts. It's like, it looks bad. It's like, this is a gold dust move.
It really is. Yeah. That's not cool, Waltman. Yeah. All right, we get to main event time, man. We get a video package to hype up the main event, and if we all know anything,
I miss video packages.
Exactly.
If miss video packages.
If any of y'all know anything about this era, the video packages were pristine. Triple H was the WWF champ, but then he started messing with Linda McMahon, which led to Vince McMahon returning from exile to defend his wife. Boy, how times have changed. This led to Vincent probably winning the WWF title, thanks to Stone Cold attacking Triple H. However, Vince decided to vacate the belt, meaning we have a six-pack challenge here tonight for the main event with Stone Cold as the guest enforcer due to the refs being on strike. Just retarded.
And don't forget, Triple H was even supposed to be in this match. Vince is like, I'm not going to put you in there. I'm going to make you earn your way into this match. Well, and then I remember that it's one of my favorite SmackDowns where Triple H basically had to run a gauntlet. He had to beat Big Show in a chokeslam match.
Yep.
He had to beat Kane in an Inferno match. He had to beat Taker in a casket match, which during this show, Vince goes up to Taker and goes, "Hey, you got a match." And Taker looks at him and goes, "I don't got nothing. I'm leaving." And then just leaves. So basically Triple H then has to end up facing Mideon and Viscera in a handicap match, casket match, which when we find out the way Triple H will win is if both of them could get in the casket and then close it, which was impossible because Viscera was 500 pounds. He had to beat Mankind in a Boiler Room Brawl, and he had to beat The Rock in a Brahma Bull Rope match, which they say was The Rock's specialty, but I don't think so.
I would say no.
I don't think so, Tim. Because it's The Rock's specialty. It's like, I don't remember him ever having a bull rope match except for this event.
Oh, you're so right. That's good. This was a nice, concise video package that gets us all up to date if you ordered this pay-per-view and you miss some shows. Although, if you notice, did you notice that they scrubbed out that Fear Factory song that played over top of it?
Probably licensing issue.
Yeah, I know. Which I was like, damn it, why is it not there?
Why Fear Factor of all fucking bands? Like, you guys are doing anything right now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Take the fucking publicity. No one's listened to you since 2002.
Six-pack challenge for the WWF title. Special guest enforcer Stone Cold Steve Austin. The title is vacant. We have Triple H versus Davey Boy Smith versus The Big Show versus Kane versus Mankind versus The Rock. Undertaker was originally supposed to be in this one, but he was, off doing wheelies on his motorcycle in the desert and wouldn't be back until next May.
How fucking dare you? You can't do wheelies on the bike that he has.
How dare you say that about the American Badass?
I'll say whatever I want because the American Badass isn't going to do fucking wheelies.
So, because of Undertaker not doing wheelies on his motorcycle, Davey Boy, we get Davey Boy instead. So, whatever, Davey Boy Smith in 1999. I never wanted to see Davey Boy Smith in any year, but here we are. as we get later on in the match, we of course get, finisher madness, where we get the conveyor belt of guys coming in to hit their big moves, leading to some near falls, some submission teases, such as when Mankind locks in a mandible claw to the Rock, only for the Rock to, of course, counter that into a rock bottom, which gets 2 when Triple H beats the count. Eventually, the referees attack Jimmy K, which leads to Stone Cold coming off commentary in order to send the referee corpse packing. Just shit you don't need to have in a main event. Austin has to be the referee himself following that, and he ends up having to count the pin for Triple H.
And he beats the shit out of every referee.
Yeah,
and they were on strike because of being treated unfair. And then Austin beats the shit out of every one of them.
It's just so convoluted here, but nonetheless, Triple H ends up having to count the pin for Triple H when Bulldog hits the Rock with a chair, and Triple H follows up with a pedigree. Austin is true to his word, though, and counts the pin as promised to give Triple H the belt win. Overall, though, I did think, and we got a new champion. It's back to Triple H here. This was an excellent main event, as the WWF had a pretty decent track record in the, stick as many people in a match as possible and see what happens during the Attitude Era when they did it with the main event guys. And this was no exception. There was good action, good storytelling. The crowd really got into it in the final 5 or 6 minutes. I thought it also did a really good job of furthering existing feuds and laying the table for some future matches. In conclusion for this one, dude, it was just really good. Triple H makes a mistake of taunting Austin post-match. He gets a stunner for his troubles to set up the 2 wrestling the following month at No Mercy. George, your thoughts on this main event?
I thought it was a great main event, minus anything the Bulldog did.
Yeah, agreed.
Bulldog, honestly, he looked lost.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that I don't mean to say as I'm picking at Bulldog, but when he's in the ring and you see him there with Triple H and The Rock, he looks like he's a little confused of what to do. He can't remember what the spots are. And it's just dude, you've clearly just don't have it anymore. Whatever you did have, you definitely don't have anymore.
I agree.
And it's a shame, because I was talking about how much I like Bulldog, but then every time I see him in a match, it's bad. Yeah. And he's kind of the same variable in every match. So I have no choice but to look at him as it. But big props to Kane, who was the workhorse in this match, because this dude was in a ring longer than anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Big Show still kind of fresh to the company, showing he can piss with the big boys.
Yeah.
In a real company.
We all want to piss with the big boys.
Yeah.
So here are my final thoughts on this show. I'm going to start with its strengths. The star power. Austin, Rock, Triple H, Mankind, Jericho, even at this point, the New Age Outlaws. Just great star power here. Fun storytelling moments. Another good strength of the show is that it sets up bigger things for No Mercy of 1999. The weaknesses to me was a very weak undercard. Several matches felt like Raw segments. And I thought there was quite a few overbooked finishes and disqualifications. But I will say in the end, I give it still around a 6.5 out of 10. Unforgiven 99 is almost, and I've said this before in a different way, it's a complete snapshot of the Attitude Era. It's fun. It's extremely fun in short bursts. It's messy and bloated in others. Worth watching for the main event, and I do think I would recommend the Jarrett and China feud and match, but the rest to me is pretty much a big miss. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking to somebody who we'll say is younger, I mean, I am 40, you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking to somebody who's 20 and they're hey, I'm curious about the Attitude Era. What's the best thing I should watch to get a feel of what the Attitude Era is? I would say Unforgiven 1999.
That's a great point, George.
That if you want to know what the Attitude Era was, it's this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
For good and for bad. Because with this pay-per-view, you can see the star power. You can see the gimmicks. A lot of these gimmicks were over. You could see how hot the crowd was for everything that was going on. But on the inverse, you can also see a lot of the poor execution of the matches.
Definitely.
Like the match production isn't quite there yet. Like it's very close. It's like right there. We're like only a few months away from having some of the best fucking matches in years.
No doubt.
But like
no
this,
doubt.
I mean, you want to know what the Attitude Era is? It's this event.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's a snapshot of the era. You get it all, everything that embodies the Attitude Era. You're going to get at Unforgiven 99.
I love this pay-per-view because it is a fun pay-per-view from start to finish. If you're looking for just fun action and not caring about anything else. But it's also like I hate it because it's like, man, this is just bad.
It is.
Like the execution of these storylines, like no storyline ended at this pay-per-view except for like Val and Steve Blackman. But like no other storyline ended. Like the Dudleys and the APA are gonna feud like right up until probably just about December, I want to say, is when, because I think the Dudleys end up beating the New Age Outlaws for the tag titles.
Yes.
Oh, wait. No. I'm trying to play in my head. No, because the New Age Outlaws are going to lose them to the Rock and Sock Connection.
Okay.
And the Rock and Sock Connection are going to lose them to the Holly Cousins, to Crash and Hardcore. Because I remember it's because they were fucking with Mankind and they made him think that the Rock hated him. So like they put the copy of his book, because his book had just come out. The Have a Nice Day had just come out. Like they took the copy that like he gave the Rock and put it in the trash, so Mankind would think that the Rock did it. So like the Rock got his ass kicked in that match, and Mankind never tagged in, and they lost the tag titles to the Hollies. And then I think the Hollies end up losing it to the Dudleys, and then that sets off everything we know for 2000 involving that tag team division. It's weird, like the little things like that I can remember, but then I can't remember. But then I can't remember my order at Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, who would? All right. So that wraps up our coverage of Unforgiven 1999. George, I didn't get your overall rating of the show.
Overall, I'm going to give this a 5, right down the middle.
Okay.
Because, as we said, because it's good and bad of like the Attitude Era. It's everything that's great about the Attitude Era, but everything that's the worst thing about the Attitude Era. And I think a 5 sums it up. Good matches, especially the later ones on the upper card.
Okay.
But poor execution.
All right. I totally agree with you there. But all right, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back here next week to get right back into our coverage of the Monday Night Wars. Again, we're right about at the turn of the century, I guess you could say, when Hulk Hogan finally becomes the third guy, the third member of the NWO. So we're getting into real exciting times of the Monday Night Wars, and we're really excited to get that kickstarted for you guys next week. George, thank you so very much, brother. I really do appreciate it. I know you guys have a lot of things going on in the MMP podcast. Unfortunately, it doesn't involve me, which is typical, but nonetheless, you guys have a contest going on. Not a contest. I'm sorry. You have, I guess you could say, a bracket tournament going on. The best time of the year for that podcast is just about to start with the 666 Weeks of Horror. What do you got coming up?
We're just the episode this week we just did. We went right back to Station 007. We did The Living Daylights, which is Timothy Dalton's debut as James Bond. Great movie. Definitely check it out. Or if you want to hear my full thoughts, obviously it's on the review. But this week coming up, we're going back to the DC AMU, which is the DC animated movie universe. And we're doing the Flashpoint Paradox.
Wow.
Which is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally cannot wait to watch it again. I think I'm gonna watch it tomorrow when I get home from work. But it is so well done, and it's perfection at its best. But if you follow us on Instagram, you can see on our stories we are doing our tournament. We go from 64 to 1 for this one. Cartoon theme songs. Round 1 of voting is already done. We are now on to the stage of 32 to get 32 down to 16. It's been a bloodbath so far for a lot of these. I'm gonna fucking say something right now. There's no fucking way in hell that the Looney Tunes theme song is better than the Super Mario Brothers rap. You people are fucking nuts. And I love the Looney Tunes. I probably more than anybody. I love Looney Tunes. But it's like I can't get past it. Also, to everybody who thought Speed Racer was a better theme song than Kablam, you're nuts. You're just nuts. You're just fucking nuts.
That's funny. Nuts. George is taking a lot of these personal, which is good.
Hey, you think I'm taking them personal?
Oh no, I heard Dean.
The other side of the coin, the other side of the coin is just as mad.
Oh, he is.
But this round of 32, every matchup is going to be a nail biter. But that's what happens when you go from 64 to like the top 32.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah.
It's. But hey, you know, we don't have BTOS versus X-Men yet. That was my worry that was going to happen.
Yeah,
it didn't. But I think we have a lot of heavy hitters that are in this top 13, from DuckTales, the Rescue Rangers, the Simpsons, Scooby-Doo, literally the fucking goats.
Did BTOS and X-Men go through?
They did.
Perfect.
They were going through regardless. Chris.
Oh, I bet.
Even if it was like a shutout loss, they were going through regardless.
In your opinion, it has to be between X-Men or Batman as the best ever. Where would you what one's number one to you?
Honestly, it's not either of those.
I mean, in my personal opinion, it's Scooby-Doo, but that's just me.
If you ask me, what do I think is the greatest cartoon theme of all time? I do think it's Scooby-Doo.
That's what I think.
I do think that that's what it is. But if you're
talking almost 60 years of everyone knowing what that is.
Yep. And anybody around the world, Scooby-Doo, it's that The Simpsons, probably another one of the most iconic themes of all time. My personal favorite cartoon theme of all time is probably Rescue Rangers.
Wow, honestly. Interesting.
It's a bop, Chris. It is. Fucking bop.
I mean, it's like DuckTales.
Between Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, you didn't need to go that hard, Disney, because you haven't gone that hard since. Like, you spent it all on those shows in the 90s, and you're like, guys, we're done.
We're done.
Phone it in. Somebody go get Dwayne Johnson and have him sing us a couple songs on our Hawaiian one.
Oh, that's great. And that wraps up the hot tag.
That Rudy Poo candy ass.
And then he'll add Terramana at the end. So this has been the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. Again, anywhere you guys listen to podcasts, check out the Multiverse Movie Podcast. You won't ever want to miss an episode every week. But thank you guys so very much. For George Rogers, I'm Christy Francesco, and we'll catch you guys down the road. Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.